BLUELOCK characters all possess unique weapons and playstyles specific to each character, but what is each player truly able to do with the weapons in their arsenal? For today's video, I'm going to be covering Itoshi Rin, his playstyle, and the weapons in his arsenal. Now I want to address this before I say anything else, that this video will only be covering the skills and abilities of Rin prior to the NEL training. As of the time of making this video, the PhD vs Bastard match has not begun yet. So at a later date, I will be making a new video talking about the skills that Rin has in his arsenal after the NEL. However, this will be only covering the skills and abilities prior to the NEL. Now this video idea was requested by this guy via the Cash App, and if you'd like to have your video idea be turned into a video, you can either leave a comment on any BLUELOCK video that I've posted, or for a guaranteed upload, any donation to the Cash App will give you a 100% guarantee that your video idea will be made into a video. It may take me some time depending on the video topic, but I will do my best to make the video as soon as possible. And because this video is only covering information prior to the PhD vs Bastard mentioned match, spoilers for up to chapter 145 of the BLUELOCK manga, and if you aren't caught up to that point in the manga, click off this video right now. To start this breakdown, the first thing that we need to address is Rin's playstyle, that being the playmaker. Playmakers are players who control the flow of the team's offensive play and are often involved in passing moves which lead to goals through their vision, technique, ball control, creativity, and passing ability. Now whether on offense or defense, Rin's playstyle consists of him grasping the abilities of his teammates and his opponents and forcing out their best plays and abilities, manipulating them all in his efforts to score goals for himself. But now that we've addressed his playstyle, let's look at Rin's core weapons. The first of Rin's weapons isn't technically a core weapon, but it's apparently labeled as a core weapon, so we have to count it. So the first is called Superior Football Technique, first displayed in chapter 45 of the manga or episode 13 of the anime. Rin is one of the 2 players in BLUELOCK who has top tier stats, as during the 3rd selection, he scored an average of 2.5 goals a game, which is the highest among the top 6. His spatial awareness, ball control, power, and kicking accuracy are only rivaled by a handful of players. The reason for Rin's superiority over a player such as Shido is that Rin's willingness to cooperate with and create chemical reactions with his teammates, while Shido scores goals completely independently. Rin's experience and techniques are all advanced enough that he's able to play the role of captain, act as the focal point for an offense, play in defense, and even overcome high-level defenders using their own strengths against them. The next core skill of his is called Perfect Kicking Accuracy, also first shown in chapter 45 of the manga or episode 13 of the anime. Rin's primary weapon is his highly accurate kicking. His shooting and passing accuracy is near perfect, as demonstrated when he kicked 2 balls in such a way that they traveled different trajectories, yet still hit each other in midair. Rin's kicks are so accurate that he is able to score from long distance. Isagi implied that he could potentially score from anywhere below 35 meters, free kicks, and even directly from corner kicks. Even when being physically pressured by players like Shido or Karasu, he is still able to make a pinpoint shot. His next core weapon is called Spatial Awareness, first displayed in chapter 48 of the manga or episode 13 of the anime. Rin analyzes the entire field, including the positions of himself, his teammates, and his opponents in order to determine the best play. His tactical ability and spatial awareness are at such a level that only Isagi can understand, counter, and rival his analytical ability. Rin is able to routinely predict the positioning and movements of other players, including Isagi, setting up traps and baits to lure them into unfavorable positions, intercepting their plays, and setting up his own. The next core skill is called Off the Ball Movements, first shown in chapter 48 of the manga or episode 13 of the anime. Off the ball relates to the movements where players are not currently in possession of the ball. Rin makes use of these movements to position himself in an opponent's blind spot, as well as to maneuver into goal-scoring positions. He does this after determining the field of vision of the players on the pitch, similarly to Isagi. And his last core weapon is called Puppet Master Soccer Style, first shown in chapter 74 of the manga or episode 20 of the anime. Rin's main playstyle is about controlling and manipulating what his opponent thinks. After identifying the strengths and weaknesses of each player on the field, Rin uses his superior technique, tactical, and physical ability to manipulate them into scenarios that will result in a goal. He can do this by using his own abilities against the opponent or by combining his strengths with his team's. This style of soccer pushes his team's abilities to their limits and then beyond that, resulting in highly complex and effective passages of play that often result in a goal. Now Rin also has an ability called Flow State, which I think we all know what Flow State is, but it was first shown in chapter 144 of the manga. Flow, as described by Ego, is the state of total immersion or being in the zone. It is the mental state in which a person performs performing some activity is fully immersed in the feeling of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment in the process of the activity. Rin's style of football usually revolves around precisely calculating the weapons of the players on the field and then drawing them out to utilize them, manipulating the field for the best way to score. However, when in flow, rather than bringing out the opponent's weapons to effectively utilize them, Rin draws out their weapons in order to shut them down. This usually involves Rin baiting them in some way to use their strongest weapon before overcoming them directly. While in flow, Rin is noted to be several levels above his standard abilities. Now when looking at his branched weapons, Rin has a lot of branched weapons, so buckle in. The first branched weapon is called Pinpoint High-Speed Free Kick, branching off from his perfect kicking accuracy weapon, first displayed in chapter 80 of the manga or episode 21 of the anime. Rin fires a blazing fast free kick with incredible accuracy, and this free kick was so fast and accurate that it went right over Isagi's head without giving him a chance to react. His next branch weapon is called Vertical Spinning Direct Shot, also branching off from his perfect kicking accuracy weapon, first displayed in chapter 48 of the manga or episode 13 of the anime. This kick is a direct shot from the corner spot, which directly targets the furthest top corner of the goal with insane vertical spin. The next skill is called Off-Foot Line Drive Shot, again branching off from his perfect kicking accuracy weapon, first shown in chapter 117 of the manga. Rin attempted to replicate his brother's shot by dribbling to the byline and using his left foot to fire the ball over the goalkeeper and into the far side netting. However, the decrease in shot power and accuracy meant that his shot was saved and hit the post. By the way, all of these weapons for a little while are branching off from his perfect kicking accuracy weapon, and I'm sure you don't want to hear me say those words over and over again, so I'm just not going to say them, but you know. The next branch skill is called Jump Shot, first shown in chapter 74 of the manga or episode 20 of the anime. After feinting to circumvent an opponent's defense, Rin lifts the ball and performs a jumping roundhouse kick, and with this technique, Rin is able to both shoot with frightening accuracy and evade a challenge from an opponent. The next skill is called Blind Shot, first shown in chapter 99 of the manga. Rin takes full advantage of the movements of another player to shield the ball from the keeper's vision before firing a blind shot that the keeper cannot react to in time. Now if this move looks a little familiar to you, that's because this move is very similar to Baro's stealth kill shot, meaning Rin could possibly have Predator Eye, but who knows. After that, the next branch skill is called Trivela Shot, first shown in chapter 120 of the manga. The Trivela technique is where one puts spin on the ball using the outside of their foot. Rin hides this form to force the assumption that he will shoot with his left foot before shooting with his right. Rin is able to do this and score from the outside penalty area, as demonstrated against the Japan U20 team. The next skill is called Spinning Mid-Range Shot, first shown in chapter 239 of the manga. Rin shoots the ball from mid-range with a large amount of spin so that it bounces into the goal. After that, we have the Trivela Pass, first shown in chapter 77 of the manga or episode 21 of the anime. Rin can use this technique to pass the ball, manipulating the opponent into thinking his pass has missed, only for it to backspin to its destination. And finally, the last branch skill related to perfect kicking accuracy is Oppressive Pass, first shown in chapter 77 of the manga or episode 21 of the anime. Rin makes a difficult pass to his teammate in order to continue a play, and he usually will play this pass into the optimal space for his teammate to retrieve it and then return the pass in the case of Ario, or into the space where he expects his teammate to break through in the case of Bachara. This pass, as opposed to a more creative one, actually challenges the limitations of Rin's team, forcing them to rise to meet his own expectations. Now for the first branch skill that isn't related to perfect kicking accuracy is called Spacing, branching off from his spatial awareness weapon, first shown in chapter 48 of the manga or episode 13 of the anime. By reading the weapon of his opponent as well as the positions of the other players on the field, Rin spaces himself in a way as to allow for him to predict and respond to whatever they decide to do. The next branch skill is called Synchronization, also branching off from his spatial awareness weapon, first displayed in chapter 140 of the manga. Rin is also able to use his spatial awareness defensively through reading and understanding the core of his opponent's football. He can overlap his thoughts with theirs to predict what they're going to do next. He uses this to halt the combined offense of Sai and Shido during the U20 match. However, focusing solely on playing defensively makes it difficult for him to join the offense to score his own goals. The next skill is called Luck Positioning, branching off from his off-the-ball movements, first displayed in chapter 85 of the manga or episode 23 of the anime. Rin has incredible positioning, constantly moving to areas where he can receive the ball and still be able to score. If Rin realizes that he will not be receiving a pass, he always positions himself in a place where he would be able to score if he should receive the ball by chance. He demonstrated this positioning during the second selection as well as during the U20 match, and Rin also uses this defensively in combination with his spatial awareness. After using his spacing, Rin gives himself enough room to predict where the opponent will likely break through and then uses his positioning to intercept them. The other skill branching off from his off-the-ball movements is called Super Speed Interlock, first shown in chapter 90 of the manga or episode 23 of the anime. By using the movements of another player as a precursor, Rin moves into a position where he can meet a quick cross in an open space. He uses this in conjunction with Bachara to score against the World 5. The next branch skill is called Feint, branching off from his puppet master soccer style, first shown in chapter 74 of the manga or episode 20 of the anime. By positioning himself at a range where he can shoot, Rin manipulates his opponents into thinking that he will shoot, and this draws in the opponent to attempt to block before he feints in order to bypass them. Rin can also use this in reverse by changing his form and hiding his motion. He fools his opponent into thinking that he won't shoot before he does. After that comes Marcel's turn, also branching off from his puppet master soccer style, first shown in chapter 77 of the manga or episode 21 of the anime. By manipulating his opponent into thinking that he will perform a regular feint, Rin transitions into a roulette turn to get around their defense. Now for Rin's flow state, it has its own unique branched weapons. The first is called opposite acceleration, first shown in chapter 144 of the manga. When facing someone with speed as their weapon, Rin knocks the ball to the side in order to bait their acceleration forward before he suddenly accelerates in the opposite direction, nutmegging them in the process, and he uses this to get by Neru in the U20 match. The next skill is called Hidden Path Ceiling, also first shown in chapter 144 of the manga. When facing someone with off-the-ball movements as their weapon, Rin will cross them multiple times to get in behind them, before using his hand to prevent them from turning around to stop him, and he used this to get by Dorai also in the U20 match. And the last of his flow abilities is called Center of Gravity Full Burst, and like the others, also first shown in chapter 144 of the manga. When facing someone with core strength as their weapon, Rin will force a physical pressure duel, knocking the ball upwards as bait. When they charge in, Rin will shift to a stance with a lower center of gravity to break their balance using their own charge against them, and like the other two, he used it to get by Niue in the U20 match. But those were all of the skills shown by Itoshi Rin prior to the new Egoist League. Now I will eventually make another one of these videos showing the skills of Rin after the NEL, but as of right now, again, those were all of the skills before the NEL. Also, because this video was posted before another one that I've already made, the next video is also an Arsenal video, this next one being about Mikagireo. So if you are excited for that, let me know down below. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and will leave me your requests for future ones in the comments or in the Cash App. For the question of the video, however, do you think that Rin will unlock Predator Eye? Leave me your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching, like and subscribe for more content just like this.
Keep up with me now. Keep up.